we've retreated on the NSE roughly 8.5% from this year's high, you're maintaining that the bull run remains intact. So for the short term, this week and next, most specifically ahead of the Christmas period, what kind of activity are you forecasting?
Well, I think, I did expect the market to close with a bang, but it looks like it's going to close with a whimper. The correction has been, I think we're going to base out ahead of a 10% correction. We're, as you said, 8.5%. And we've hit a number of air pockets. The first one being political risk, where we got Ocampo, who is releasing names on Wednesday that sort of ratchet up the political risk a little bit. And we've also had this very big call via KPLC on their rights issue, which I think has drained some liquidity out of the rest of the market. So whilst I'm not expecting any fireworks between now and year end, I don't think the downside is that much. And I think if you're prepared to look ahead into the full year results, there's some very choice pickings to be had.
You mentioned political risk as one of the factors to consider. Any threat as you see it to the coalition government if the names of government officials are released tomorrow?
Well, I think, it's going to be pretty even, Stephen. Both sides of the coalition are going to lose one or two of their members to this process. I think, the question around the political risk is whether we're going to see those people who are identified ratchet up noise in their home areas. I personally think this is not going to happen, that actually this is going to be very cathartic, and we're going to see a reduced political risk going forward. But near term, with Ocampo live streaming his press conference on Wednesday into Kenya, he's terribly 21st century. We've got people on their tippy toes and looking around for anything that might possibly break.
The second factor that you mentioned was the KPLC rights issue stealing a lot of investor interest. With that, this morning we've heard news that Liberty Holdings has extended its date for the acquisition of a CFC from the 15th of December to the 28th of February. Just how much of that news can be attributed to the fact that we've got investor interest at this stage very slanted and possibly influencing Liberty's decision?
Well, I think probably, the KPLC rights issue is very large. It's caught everyone's attention. And I think there's nothing more sinister in the Liberty Life delay other than that they probably couldn't get most of their shareholders to focus properly with KPLC in the background. I think CFC is well supported at these sort of levels, and I think that Liberty Life acquisition will go through early next year. But I think it's just got caught up in what is a lot of noise in a pre-Christmas period. Well,
we wait then for February next year. Let's take a look at other few stocks that are making noises. Safaricom's bounced higher in the last two sessions, gaining 3.25%. So finally coming off its steeply oversold level of 4 shillings 50. Still, it's sustainability of any upward trend, Aly Kahn, that's brought to question here, because this share price has really struggled to maintain anything above its listing price.
No, I think you're quite correct. It's been a bit of a disappointment. Obviously, it got caught up in this Bharti Airtel price blitzkrieg that was going on for quite some months. But I think that's now, we've got the long and the short of it. I think voice prices are going to base out here. I think everything is in the share price. The problem with Safaricom, it takes a long time. You've got so many shareholders. The turnaround process takes a long time. I think we've turned around. There was huge demand at 450, a multiple of what was available for sale. So I think we can move up to about 5 at the moment. But clearly we need more color on how well the internet business is doing. That's where they got the lead. That's where they're showing hyper growth. And I think investors lost sight of that as Airtel came in with their blitzkrieg. So I think we're on a recovery path. We're headed towards 5.
Just as a quick aside, we heard yesterday that Michael Joseph, former Safaricom boss, has been appointed as the head of the Kenya Tourism Board. Were you surprised by that move at all from his side?
No, I wasn't. I mean, we're in a war for intellectual capital. Michael Joseph has got plenty of it. He's proven he's got it. I think this was probably the best appointment the tourism minister has made. I wasn't surprised. He's very nationalistic. He's very Kenyan. And I expected, a bunch of suitors to come after him. And I'm not surprised he took that, because I think he's got some very progressive views as to how to make our limited budget count much more strongly on the tourism front.
Well, as I said, that just as an aside. Moving on, with players like Safaricom so focused on data as their new growth leg, Access Kenya has been getting severely punished. It hit a 52-week low of 14 shillings 90 on Friday. What's the investment merit as you see it, if any, in the stock right now? Because this used to be a pretty strong performer, Aly Kahn.
Yes, I think they've got a powerful story in the metro cable they've laid around in Nairobi. They've plugged into the Kenya corporate sector, but the price has weakened with the arrival of MTN. MTN came in via UNet, which was an ISP internet provider, and I think the weakness in Access Kenya's price is a sense that MTN are coming for their lunch. And you're quite correct on the charts. We've hit a succession of 52-week lows. The PE still remains rich at about above 18 or 19. And I think we've still got some more price deterioration ahead of us in the near term.
Well, we've broached this topic before on the show, but just getting some of your perspective on the matter, where at one stage Access Kenya felt that as an acquisition target, it had been lowly priced. Being on the road it's on right now, do you see it sitting a little bit more vulnerable to that possibility?
Yes, I made those comments, and I was given a very short shrift by the Soman brothers, but clearly I think, to most commentators, there is this play, it is listed, it is not really a big acquisition in terms of cash value, and I think, again, as you quite correctly note, it is in play. The Somans no longer control a majority stake in the company, so it really will be a decision that shareholders will have to make. And I think if someone puts an offer on the table above the current trading price, a lot of shareholders will have a very good look at it.